Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the RCB Entertainment Show, where we look at upcoming movies and TV series debuting in Ireland this upcoming month. And up next, we have to talk about a movie starring Gerard Butler, Frank Grillo, and my guest this evening, the one and only Toby Huss. It's called Copshop. It deals with a lethal assassin who's on the run that hides out in a small-time police station, and he's been hunted down by an assassin, and he's also another assassin makes his way to the police station, and this con artist Teddy Moretto is trying to escape the clutches of these people, hitmen that are trying to track him down, all in the precinct of a young Garda, Valerie Young, who's trying to protect our prisoner. Toby Huss plays the character Anthony Lamb. And I suppose, Toby, when I saw the trailer for Copshop, it reminded me so much of a movie called Assault on Precinct 13 in terms of the same sort of premise in terms of this idea of hiding out in a police station, and they basically, all these sort of bad apples, crooks, trying to tear down the walls of the police station to get to the ultimate prize, which is ultimately a bad guy in itself again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was intentional. It was just the conceit that Carnahan came up with, and the writer. Yeah, I think it works.
You think it works? And Toby, how did the opportunity arise for you to get cast in Copshop?
I had to kill this other guy that was up for the role. No, they gave me a call. I think Gerard Butler wanted me for some other role, and Gerard said no. Jerry said get him for a Lamb, and I wasn't doing anything. I was down in Thunderbolt, and this thing shot in Atlanta, and I said, yeah, let me drive up the street. So I drove to Atlanta and shot it. It was great fun.
And I suppose when you're dealing with an intricate sort of plot that revolves around four sort of characters in sort of such a time frame, such as a police station as such, there has to be sort of great chemistry between the cast, obviously, because it's four principal characters that we see throughout the whole entire movie.
Yeah, I think that's key. And I think when you watch it, you'll see that, well, you see four actors that got along with each other. It was great fun, both of them. Grillo is a nut, and Gerard Butler's a real sweetheart and a fun guy. And Alexis, this being kind of her first big movie, she's pretty excellent in this. So we had a great time. Yeah, we respected each other's work, so it went pretty smooth and quickly.
And Toby, in terms of your character Anthony Lamb, when you got the script, and when you saw what the synopsis for him, what sort of came to your mind in playing that sort of psychotic type hitman that's a bit aloof, as the saying goes?
It was just, he's a conglomeration of some wonderful Peckerwoods and rednecks I've met over the course of my life. So he was a combination of a lot of them. Some of them more dangerous than others, some of them very dangerous, some folks you meet along the way. But I thought at his core, there was nothing personal. He wasn't in this for money even. He wasn't in this because it was a personal vendetta. He was in it because he liked the action. And it gave him a lot to do, the character.
And I suppose, Toby, you almost get the vibe like an 80s type hitman, a sort of a guy that was sort of prominent around that sort of era. Is that what you saw for Anthony Lamb, that sort of guy, a veteran type assassin that had been through the sort of decades that might be sort of a one job every 6 months type of a character?
I think so. And he's the kind of guy that, he's not 22, he's not starting out, so he's not as cautious as he would have been. He's kind of an arrogant jerk, and he comes in with the balloons. He's a goofball, but he's just murderous, and he just kills a lot of people. It's pretty fun. I suppose I shouldn't give anything away, but if you hadn't grasped that, you don't know Joe Carnahan's movies.
And I suppose, Toby, in terms of the shooting of the movie, you mentioned it was shot in sort of Georgia. Was it a sort of a a 6 to 8 week sort of shoot, and there was much shooting done on the lot location? I imagine there wasn't much off shoot location.
No, I think they shot some of the exterior stuff, the car crash stuff in the beginning. Car chase stuff was in the Southwest, and then most of it was in a studio outside of Atlanta. And it was pretty controlled. You know, COVID was still going on, so we had strict protocols when we were on and off set. Yeah.
Yeah.
We shot it there. I think it was, 8 weeks, maybe 10 or something.
And I suppose, Toby, the sort of premise of two main characters interacting back and forth between prison cells for the start of the beginning, and obviously your character arriving midway through is sort of a plot twist that brings a sort of a third dimension to the sort of film as sort of such. So in terms of your character is probably that mystique in terms of we're sort of waiting and waiting. Is it just between Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler? And obviously you're come in and you sort of surprise the party and throw a third wheel to the fray, as the saying goes.
Yeah. I mean, what's the question?
Yeah, I'm just saying in terms of the premise of that sort of interaction, cell by cell interaction, I'm just sort of wondering in terms of the mystique, do you sort of like that sort of gate crashing halfway through that sort of premises? Do you feel that sort of suits your character's elements, that he sort of comes in all guns blazing as the sort of going?
Yeah, that's kind of fun to have that, to be that guy that comes in halfway through and it's mentioned as sort of a storm that's going to roll in. Yeah, and then you get to roll in and be a storm in everybody's life. It's fun to do.
And Toby, how's the reaction been to the movie in terms of what you've heard in terms of the intake? It's going down very well all over the world. Are you sort of thrilled and delighted to be involved in sort of such a project? And when you saw it for the first time in terms of, I presume it was shown to the cast, what was your initial reaction when you saw the first-hand for your own eyes?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the picture, and I guess it was released in England last week, and it's going to be released tomorrow in America. So I haven't seen the thing yet. I'll go on Saturday. I plan on seeing it in Savannah, Georgia, with some buddies. So we're going to go watch it there for the first time.
And in terms of the stunts in the movie, in terms of the gunshots, in terms of the technique and sort of stuff, in terms of the fight sort of sequence, well, in terms of how long did they take to shoot? Were they maybe 9-10 hour days in terms of those shooting sequences? Did they be shot in sort of different locations? And did you have a sort of a person training you, or did you have a stunt double for those sort of takes?
There was a guy that tried to train me, and I did some stuff. But I'm very comfortable letting stunt guys take all the big hits. And yeah, Butler was knocking people out left and right, apparently. He knocked one stunt guy out, accidentally, of course, and bloodied up another guy, I think. Yeah, he's a nut. So yeah, no, anybody wants to step in and take a bump from me, I'm fine with that. But all the shooting, that was me with the gun and stuff. Yeah, that's the fun stuff.
And you mentioned Alexa Lauder, and this is probably our first big movie. And obviously, she's the hero, sort of the protagonist in terms of year sort of surrounded by three sort of. I don't know.
I don't know if I see her as I see me as the hero of this movie. But keep going, continue while you stay.
And in terms of that sort of the good versus sort of evil sort of team that sort of runs through the sort of the movie as sort of such. She's fighting a one woman crusade, and she really sort of shone in that sort of role when the chips were down.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good for a kid. I think she's pretty good. She's much better than I was at that age, I'll tell you that. And she can hold down a scene with those two other guys. With Grillo and Butler. She's pretty good.
And Toby, in terms of yourself, is it a busy time now in terms of upcoming sort of projects, TV series in the works? Are you getting an awful lot of scripts coming your way in terms of projects in the pipeline? And is there anything that we're going to see you in our in our TV screens here in Ireland and the UK in the near future?
Yeah, as long as you have HBO Max, I think you can, in Ireland, if they let that in Ireland, I'm sure they do. But you'll be able to watch a show, a 5-part miniseries about the Watergate break-in called The White House Plumbers. I think that's coming up in the spring. We're still shooting that. We're going to go shoot at the Watergate Hotel in October, early October. And then we should be done with that in by the 17th or 18th of October. But that's a great little... great miniseries of Woody Harrelson and Justin Theroux and Lena Headey and a bunch of really, really great actors in it. Just worked with F. Murray Abraham in there. And I played one of the Watergate break-in guys. That's a great little... Dave Mandel is directing all the episodes.
Okay.
Who was the showrunner of that show Veep for a long time on HBO.
Okay, that's great to know, Toby. We'll definitely keep our eyes out for that. And we encourage all our listeners to tune in when that comes out. And Toby, if I can turn it over to you now for the last 30 seconds, you might enlighten all our audience and all our listeners why they should go to the cinemas here in Ireland tomorrow to tune in, to check out Copshop and what's in store for them.
You've got to go see a countryman whose grandmother was from County Cork, Charlotte Deegan. It was my grandmother, but she was from County Cork, yeah. And it's a good picture. It's awful fun. It's a lot of fun. From what I've seen, even though I haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. It was fun to shoot, so it's got to translate.
Toby Huss, on that note, thanks for joining us this evening in terms of outlining and portraying the details about your character, Anthony Lamb. That is obviously, and your role in Copshop, which debuts here in the cinemas all across Ireland tomorrow in our theatres. We do check all our audience to check it out. We do invite all our audience to check out Toby's new project, which is coming out later on the spring as well. But for the moment, Toby Huss, take care and thanks for joining us this evening.
All right, appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you.
Adios.